All right, we are live. Hey guys, welcome, welcome. It's me, Huffy Bear.
Yo.
Probably an unfamiliar face, but yeah, it's me. I'm here. I noticed, last episode I didn't actually introduce myself really. I kind
Oh,
of just
you let me do my thing.
yeah, I let you do your thing, but like I thought about it and I was like, man, I'm kind of an asshole here for just assuming everyone knows who I am. So yeah, I'm Huffy Bear. I am a gaming VTuber slash I guess podcaster now. Like I like the sound of that. I podcast on the side. That's a cool hobby to have.
VTuber slash podcaster.
Yeah, and vet. There's always that too. A title we both share. So
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, man. Introduce yourself again though for whoever's
Hello.
catching us new.
Hello. Andrew, also known as Bones. Um, I'm not a gaming VTuber. I'm just a gamer, and now a podcaster. Um, yeah, that's all we can. That's all we'll talk about for now. A little quick introduction because I want to get right into what we're going to be talking about this week, dude. And it's a little bit of emulation because
Yeah,
iPhones just got emulators. We got some Nintendo ones, and then we got a PSP and a PS1 emulator. Something Android's had for what now, like a decade?
yeah. If that, and PC has had for longer. The thing with emulation is like it's always been there, and it's kind of like almost like a thankless thing because the vast majority of people don't really emulate or do anything of that. But it's very important from a game preservation kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
because there are so many of these things that end up coming out and they'll get delisted for whatever reason. Like superhero stuff is a very big example of that. I don't know
Oh
if
yeah, a
you're
lot
aware
of
of
Spider-Man
the
games.
yeah, Spider-Man's a big one. At least the
Mm-hmm.
ones that were made by Activision. There's the Deadpool one that came out a few years ago. You can't even buy that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Emulation's important for stuff like that.
Well, I got the PSP emulator, and the first game that I downloaded was God of War: Ghost of Sparta, which was, I believe, a PSP exclusive. I don't know if they ever ported it over, but I mean, it's pretty big to have a narrative-driven game and then put it on a handheld for an exclusive. So it's really cool being able to go back and play stuff like that I wasn't able to play whenever it came out because I didn't have a PSP. So I didn't have any access to any of those video games or the cool takes. I used to think things being ported to the PSP, and even when you see big games getting ported to like Game Boy Advance, I've been seeing a lot of big titles that got Game Boy Advance releases pretty late in the 2000s, and I used to think that was so lame that those consoles were seeing games like that, and now that I've had time to not be dumb and just make assumptions on things I don't know about. I've gotten to play those games, and it's been really cool because I actually appreciate the take that the Game Boy gets to see on a game like Batman Begins that came out on the PS2, but has a Game Boy Advance version.
It's funny you mentioned that, and I have two thoughts regarding that. One, that was when Sony cared about other things other
Yeah,
than like the main console.
yeah.
Because I was a big PSP fan, I was a big PS Vita fan. The PS Vita was actually my last Sony console, and I'm still angry about the way it was treated.
I forgot about the Vita, dude.
Yeah, the Vita was ahead of its time. The
Mm-hmm.
second thing though was before the Switch, a lot of games made for handhelds were kind of specifically tailored for the limitations of the handheld. So they made games in a certain way that they don't anymore. I guess the closest you'll get are
Mm-hmm.
like really small indie stuff now, but there's a certain flavor, I guess, if you will, for stuff that was made specifically for handhelds. Like one of my favorite RPGs is on the Nintendo DS. It
Which one?
was it was called Radiant Historia. It was by Atlas, the
Hmm.
people who made Persona
Okay.
and Shin Megami Tensei. So it was a really cool story regarding time travel and stuff like that. But it never got ported anywhere. Well, I guess it did technically to another handheld, the 3DS.
Okay.
So 2DS to 3DS. But after that, nothing. It's trapped
Mm-hmm.
there. And now that the 3DS store shut down, I believe it was last year, you can't buy any 3DS games anymore digitally. And
Yep.
used game prices that are physical, especially for systems like that, they skyrocket with the whole hustle culture we got now. People are
Mm-hmm.
always trying to flip a quick buck.
Yeah. Well, I mean, things that were big in the 2000s are now considered, nostalgic. So
Yeah,
you can charge 30 or 40 or $50, for those games that people want just simply by owning them,
yeah.
simply by having them. They, some people might not even necessarily want to play them. Some people just like collecting memorabilia and stuff like that, especially with physical media being so rare. Um, as far as purchases nowadays, everything's digital.
And the only thing that comes with that too is that all it takes is one YouTube video about a hidden gem to go viral, and then game prices will skyrocket. There's this one, and it didn't sell well at all when it released. Like it was, I guess it was considered a not so great thing. But there's this PS2 game called Rule of Rose, and it was a survival horror game. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of it before.
No,
Rule
I
of
never heard
Rose.
of it.
Yeah, it was a European studio that developed it, I believe, called Rule of Rose. No one really knew about it, no one really talked about it, but it had like a small cult following. And one of those fans, in their passion, good on them, they made a YouTube video about it. It got big and it skyrocketed. I think a used copy now is like 200 or $300
Wow, off of
just
one YouTube
used.
video.
Yeah, like it's crazy, man.
Hmm.
So the only way to really play games like that, and I'm gonna say this, I like the charm of playing on like an old system. Like emulation's cool and all, but like it's cool to play on
No,
original stuff too. No,
no, no. Give me that HD upscaling. Give me, the faster responsive controls. I liked my Game Boy whenever I had my Game Boy. You know,
okay. Well, I guess I can see that too. Well, I'm saying there's a charm to it. It's
yes,
charming. That being said, I think the faster load times that a computer can brute force or an SSD or whatever like will win the day for me
yeah.
when I'm playing stuff.
Being able to save a game is pretty big wherever you want. I whenever I pick up my Spider-Man game, you could just save. You can do a manual. You can add a couple manual saves and jump all around. If you have you played any, I know they're not emulators, but if you played the Nintendo Switch versions of Game Boy Advance and N64 and all that.
A little bit here and there. I'm not gonna
So
lie. I only got my Nintendo on. You need the membership for that, right?
yeah, I
Nintendo
think
Online.
so. I believe so.
I only got that because I had to cloud save my Switch stuff for certain reasons.
Yeah.
Literally the only reason why I got it. So I've checked out a few of those here and there, but nothing really grabbed me.
Well, they have this really cool feature where you can go back several frames
Oh, like a
while you're
rewind thing.
like a little rewind thing. So I mean, just new features like that um, give accessibility to all those old games where they used to be so irritating. You'd be fighting, and I know that that's how it used to be. If you died, you died, and you started over. But being able to save because I want to enjoy the game just by playing it is nice. Where I don't have to sit there and you know and take it real seriously because I don't want to die and start all over. I can just pop back a save and kind of just play worry free and just enjoy the game.
Are you interested then in picking up like a specific device just for emulation? Or are you gonna continue to rely on your phone?
No, I think I'm just gonna keep. I'll probably stick with my phone. I like iPhones. I'm a big fan of my iPhone. So I don't think I'll go back to Android simply because there's more options for emulation because there's just with the PSP and all these Nintendo systems they just opened up so many video games that I'm going to have to pick up and play. So I don't think I'll switch over to Android just for this, but I did think about it for about a day or two.
Oh, I don't mean like swapping your phones. Like, you don't need to do that if you don't want. I meant like
Hmm.
picking up a specific. So basically, they make these Android tablets with controllers attached,
Really?
specifically just for
Huh.
emulation. Yeah,
No, I hadn't heard of anything like that.
yeah. I'll give you some lists below, but I know one of the popular ones right now is the Odin, the Odin Pro or Odin 2. It has the
Okay.
same chipset, I believe, that's in the current Samsung Galaxy devices, so it's a pretty strong Android chip. From what I've seen, emulates up to PS2 like without issue, or GameCube or
Okay.
original Xbox too. I guess OG Xbox was the strongest or hardest system back
Hmm.
then. So yeah, it can brute force that stuff too. So yeah, I'd give those a quick look. I think you can get one for
Huh.
like 100 or 200 bucks.
I'll have to look into it. That I've never even heard of anything like that. That does sound cool though, being able to have a, a device kind of like a Switch that I can carry around, just dedicated to old school video games that I can't get anywhere.
Yeah, because I know some people would rather not clog up their phone, with like, because once you start getting the
Yeah.
PS2 games, like the game sizes go up to the gigs.
Well, I mean, some of my PSP games are a gig and a half, but Apple doesn't have any PS2 emulators that are on the App Store natively.
At the
Um,
moment. Yeah.
yeah, at the moment, who knows whenever we'll get them. I'm happy to just get whatever we got, even though, and I mean, Android's had it for so long, been able to do PS2 and GameCube. So there's still so many titles that Apple's missing out on. So hopefully we'll get them soon.
So currently, you're playing Spider-Man, right?
Yeah,
You're on
I'm
your
playing. I'm
Spider-Man
playing
thing.
a few Spider-Mans. Yeah, Game Boy Advance.
What are you looking at after that's done?
I'm
Or
also playing God of War, but I have my controller that I plug into my phone for that, and I can't carry that around with me in my pocket. So that I pick up if I'm sitting on the couch at home and I'm not doing anything, or if I'm waiting for something to finish cooking, I'll put that on. Um, but afterwards, the original Max Payne is a Game Boy Advance game, so I'm eager to see their take on the original Max Payne game, but in the handheld little console version of it.
oh, and that's very different from what was on the PS2, right?
Oh yeah, I mean the big systems, PlayStation and Xbox, they were getting full 3D action third person shooters. So I'm eager to see what the game. Obviously, probably going to be a 2D side scroller. Um, but I'm eager to see what they add to it because all the Spider I've got two different Spider-Man games and they all have pretty unique mechanics of being able to web up and down onto the ceilings. One game can do that, the other one can't. So they all have their own little unique, I feel, cool spins on abilities or stuff like that. So I'm eager to see what they have.
Yeah, my whole thing right now, the next game I'm gonna play to completion with emulator is Fatal Frame 3, The Tormented. I don't know if you're familiar with the series at all. I showed you a little bit of the first one.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically a survival horror series where, for whatever reason, your character goes to this super haunted area, and the only way you can fight back against the ghosts, not even kill them, but just fight back against them and drive them off, is you have a special camera. It's an old school camera that when you take a snapshot of the ghost with
Mm.
your camera, it damages their spirit. And so you wander around trying to
Huh.
figure out what's going on. It's like, I don't know, it
Using your camera as
seems,
like a weapon.
yeah, or I guess like a survival tool. It's super cool. Like, I've always loved the series because it has like this atmosphere, I guess, that other horror games don't really match. It feels like you're watching or experiencing an old school, like specifically Asian style horror, because like they're more focused on ghosts and stuff for
Mm-hmm.
Asian horror, from what I've noticed.
Okay.
So yeah, I love it. It's cool, man. I've streamed the first two, the fourth one, and the fifth one. The third one's the only one I haven't played because by that point, um, I could never find it when I had a PS2. Like, eBay wasn't really a thing back. Well, I guess it was, but I was too young to know how to use it.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't get my hands on a copy of 3. So I'm excited to give that a shot. Upscale it to 1440p and like
Yeah.
go ham on it with an Xbox controller.
Yeah, I'm very happy to be able to get my hands on some of the older material that isn't around. Jak and Daxter, Sly Cooper, Crash Bandicoot, Ratchet and Clank, all those old school games, they've either gotten remasters or they were ported to the PS3s or the PS4s or the X, well, I can't speak for Xbox because I don't have one, but I mean, you can still access all those really, really popular genre defining video games today, it very easily on these modern consoles. It's the games that didn't, get their time in the light that aren't easily found that I'm really excited to. Like, um, the old school Max Paynes. They're not really. anywhere on modern consoles that you can get a good version of it.
They are on Xbox.
Really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I actually
Well,
bought the first Max Payne. It was on sale for like $5, I think, the other
wow.
day. Granted, they also technically run on emulation on the newer Xboxes. It's just like an official emulator.
I don't know if I don't think PlayStation has that. You know, they've got the newer ones, but I don't think they have the older ones. But there's so many more that I'm excited to be able to play.
Yeah, man. Are you interested in trying out anything new as well?
Um Pokemon is still new to me. I never played any of them. I tried playing Pokemon Emerald when I was in high school on an emulator on my phone, and I actually really enjoyed it. So that was the last time I picked up a Pokemon game and actually gave it my all. So yeah, I'm excited to play the thing that every single person's either played or watched and try to enjoy it like they have.
Uh, I wish I could say the same for me, man. A lot of people kind of give me weird looks when I say this, but I'm just not uh, a Pokemon fan. Maybe
Yeah,
I
I feel you.
grew out of it or something, but the last one I remember playing and enjoying was Crystal version, which came out in like 2001.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was even after that. But everything else after that, I remember because a new Pokemon game would, it'd be like a full price release, and I could never. I don't know. My family always ended up buying PS2 games instead, so I just
Yeah.
never got the new
It's
Pokemon.
exactly what happened with me and my family.
Yeah, but I've noticed though that people that kept up with it year by year, like they're still rabid Pokemon fans to this day, and maybe it's because I kind of cut the cord a little bit early. Just
Yeah.
I don't really see the hype. Not that I'm like hating on it, like people that love it. I'm happy they have something they're
Uh-huh.
passionate about because I do too with the stuff that I like. So
Well, I think I like attached to things like Justice League and stuff like that, and I still love Justice League. I'll rewatch all the series, all the seasons that I can get on HBO Max nowadays. And some of my friends are like, "Oh yeah, cool. I watched that when I was 11, and then never picked it up again." And I'm like, cool. Well, I never enjoyed Pokemon, so I
well
guess we just all gravitate to different things.
that's a little bit different though, right? Because I think they still make new movies for the Justice League.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the old school stuff. That's what I old school. But like Justice League Unlimited and the Justice League show, I think when most people were watching Pokemon, I was watching that. So, I wasn't, I pick and choose 50-50 which side of the coin you ended up on. And I got Justice League, not Pokemon.
Hmm. Another option would be as well, aside from picking up a Android tablet handheld for emulation, you could also just get something like a Steam Deck, man.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be that's from what I know, that's supposed to be considered like the best handheld for emulators like right now compared to, an actual desktop PC. Like
I,
that's the most
I,
horsepower you'll get.
I just feel like it's so generous calling the Steam Deck a handheld.
Yeah, it is a little bit hefty and
Yeah, it's
blocky.
so, whenever you were showing me yours, I, it didn't feel like the ergonomics of the device were weird. I didn't think it felt good in my hand. So I don't know. I'd rather play on my tiny little cell phone screen than on a Steam Deck for the things that I can access on it. The bigger stuff like PS2, I guess I'll just have to sit down on my computer.
Yeah, I think the days for having them be as bulky as that might not be too far off. I spoke with you about this a couple weeks. I don't know if you remember the whole news about Windows on ARM devices.
Hmm.
Yeah, ARM chips being like way more efficient at power draw and stuff like that because we use ARM chips in all our phones. There were a lot of rumors about Xbox going to ARM eventually. There are also a lot of rumors about Xbox developing a handheld. It I honestly don't think it's out of reason if maybe in like the next 5 or 10 years we'll have an ARM based Windows PC handheld that maybe even will be like a phone size. 'Cause phones like what 7 inches or so for screen size.
Hmm.
Yeah, you just slap some buttons on the side or whatever, and yeah, call it a day, and that'll be It'll run full Windows, and with that, you can install all the emulators you want. I could
Yeah.
easily see that happening.
And I'm surprised that Microsoft never came out with a handheld.
Yeah, I've done some research on this. By research, I meant just gobbling all the articles I could find. I think it was really just out of scope for them. I don't think they saw there would be a return on investment because I don't think anyone thought it would be popular when the Switch came out. I don't know if you
Mm-hmm.
remember, but everyone thought the Switch would be a failure. It's really comical to look at older articles now, but yeah, no one thought it would do well at first.
Mm-hmm.
And then it kind of blew up, and that paved the way for x86 based handhelds later on.
My Switch never leaves my house unless I'm going on a plane or something like that. I my that is not a portable device. I carry it around my house, but I just it's crazy how popular things like that have gotten. But yeah, I feel like I don't really. Do you ever see Switches out in the wild?
I do, and like I'll catch myself thinking like, "Damn, bro, really?
Are they
Out
wielded by adults?
like out here? Yeah, actually.
See, I don't. I feel like I only see like kids in strollers.
But for me, it's mostly like, damn, bro, you're a little bit too trusting of the people around you. You know, like I feel like this makes you an easy target if you're playing a Switch on, say public transport. Like a plane, I could understand. I've played a Switch on an airplane before, but on like the metro or I guess if you're just at a park,
Yeah, yeah. I just I don't catch them out in the wild. I don't catch people gaming on their phones out in the wild. Maybe I'm just not paying attention to that stuff, but I think it's I enjoy it as like a whenever I have a time to sit down and pull out my phone real quick, play for 5 minutes, and then tuck it back in my pocket and keep moving about my day.
yeah, I could see that too. The thing is though, certain games translate well for that style of play. Something like Max Payne though, I don't think I could pick up and put down easily.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you.
It's mostly the turn based stuff. But that's one of the reasons why though I've like been kind of on an emulation kick this year, specifically because of like the whole handheld portion. Because I've had a PC capable of running. I guess technically everyone does. Every PC in the last 10 years could emulate up to PS2, I think.
Hmm.
But like,
I believe decently.
yeah, the last frontier right now I think is like the PS3. I think it's matured, but not mature enough for everything to be like 100. Like, say for example, the PSP emulator. I think that one's the most stable one that I've seen for at least the Sony stuff.
Yeah,
What
it's pretty crazy how everything on the app that I use is like automatically upscaled to HD. It looks like it's supposed. It looks like it's running like like it came out for iPhone,
well,
like it's on the App Store. It's great.
let me ask you this though: did you add scan lines to your
Mm-mm.
game?
I don't
You,
know anything about any of that. Excuse me.
no, you're all right.
Yeah,
So the
I don't know anything about. I don't know. There's it recommended frame skipping, and I just did it because it recommended it. I have no idea what that means.
a scan line would be, on older TVs like the CRTs, like when you played games on them, they had these lines, and because they had those lines, it could kind of blur
Oh.
imperfections in the sprites or whatever. That's why certain HD re-releases of games now kind of look weird. Like
Huh.
they're exactly the way you remember them, but they're also a little bit off. It's because they didn't have those lines anymore. So some emulators will
Wow.
add those scan lines to, I guess it's
I
like
had no
PS1
idea.
and stuff like that. Yeah, it's super cool, man. Super cool.
Well, didn't you just get some new stuff for your PC?
I did actually, but it hasn't come in the mail yet. So for everyone who's listening, I read some news about the U.S. government renewing tariffs on certain goods that were assembled or developed in China. So that kind of scared me because the last time that happened, GPU prices skyrocketed and they kind of went up and everyone started scalping, and it doesn't seem like they ever really went down since then. So I ended up buying a new GPU. So I'm upgrading to a 4070 Ti Super. So I'm excited for that to come in
It's a
because
beefy card.
Yeah, it's a beefy card. The the stuff really that I'm excited about isn't really necessarily related to gaming. It's mainly more so for streaming because those cards have these things called AV1 encoders, which is it's a video encoder. So say you were streaming on Twitch, right? So Twitch only allows the old encoder style, which is H.264. So if you were gonna stream your stream at 1080p, you'd need at least the to get it looking great. You'd need like the max that Twitch allows, which is like 7,000 kilobits per second.
Okay.
With AV1, and you'd be using your 4000 series card to encode it or whatever using NVENC, you could get away with the same quality for half the bit rate. So if you have data caps or anything like that, it helps out a lot. Your
Okay.
file sizes would be about half as big too, which is
Okay.
like a big deal.
Huh. Um. So that's going to be extremely useful for
Yeah,
you.
for my content creation stuff at least. I'm
But for
super
someone like me, it might not necessarily be as eye popping.
that encoder, sure, but like a new GPU also has like other improvements too, like just the raster performance.
Hmm.
I did see that Nvidia locked their newest thing to the 4000 series card only. Have you heard of this? It's called frame generation.
No.
Say you're playing a game, right? Nvidia will basically use their AI to look at the frames that just happened and the frames that it's about to receive,
Hmm.
and it will essentially add frames to your display. So you could go from like I don't know 60 to maybe 90 frames, and the other ones are just
Really?
AI generated. Yeah, it's crazy. You can essentially
So
almost double your frame rate.
the the AI is making frames.
Yeah, and it ends up looking
Huh.
almost indistinguishable aside from being more smooth because there's more frames.
Wow. Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm hyped for it. I don't know exactly what I'll test it on. Maybe I'll finally play Forspoken or something like that, or Horizon
don't.
Zero Dawn.
Oh, please don't play Horizon Zero Dawn.
I
Enjoy Horizon Zero Dawn. I never enjoyed it, but I don't need to play either one to know that Horizon's going to be an enjoyable experience compared to Forspoken.
Did you really not play it? I figured that that would have been right up your alley.
I tried so hard. I tried so hard to enjoy that video game. I could just never make it past the introduction, like the tutorial, the part where you're climbing on those rocks, and there's a I can't even really remember it. It didn't even stand out. There's a guy that's your age that's yelling at you, and you're climbing on rocks. That's all I can remember. I think I made it to maybe where I was sneaking through tall grass around robot dinosaurs. It just did not grab my attention.
Isn't that the Assassin's Creed formula though? I know you like the
Oh,
Assassin's Creed formula because you beat Valhalla and I could not.
I loved Valhalla. I thought Valhalla was peak of the RPG versions of Assassin's Creed, of Origins, Odyssey, and then the third being Valhalla. I couldn't stand Odyssey. Really
Mm-hmm.
enjoyed Origins. Um, I'm not on the hate train of Assassin's Creed. The turning into RPGs. I thought they were really cool.
Yeah, for me, my experience with it was weird because I played Assassin's Creed 1. I had a special attachment to that
Hmm.
game because when I saw the trailer at E3, I thought it was super cool. I was like, man, why is it glitching out? I thought we're back in time and, you got the reveal.
Hmm.
The game finally came out. But I was on Facebook at that time, back when Facebook was like a lot more simple and, it was really just friends. You didn't have parents on it or anything like that. There was this company that was running a giveaway and I just entered the giveaway and I was like, whatever. Like if I win, I win. If I don't, I don't. If it's fake, it's fake. But whatever. I
Hmm.
actually won. I
Really?
actually
What'd you
yeah.
win?
I won a copy of Assassin's Creed.
Huh.
Like they sent me. I already owned the game, mind you. So I was like, okay. But like they sent it to me in the mail, and I was like, wow. So now I have a second copy. I can trade the other one into GameStop and get another game with it. So
You
I
get
thought that was super
$3.
cool. Yeah. $3 credit, mind, not even dollars, credit.
Uh-huh. You would have gotten $1.50 if you wanted it back in money.
Cash money. But no, man, Assassin's Creed's like back in the news now though, because of the new one, Shadows.
Yeah, some of it's back in the news for some good things, some bad things. Um, I'm excited for it if they're talking about going back to an older school version of stealth games where it's focusing on stealth. But then didn't they say that about the newest? What's the newest Assassin's Creed called?
Mirage.
Mirage. Didn't they also say that about Assassin's Creed Mirage? And then immediately when the game launched, there was videos of him teleporting around, stabbing people.
I did not see those videos. I didn't actually play Mirage either.
Neither did I.
The
I heard it was okay. When I think of going back to the roots and old school stealth, I think like Splinter Cell and the first Assassin's Creed, old like original. So I'm eager to see what their take on stealth improved stealth mechanics are.
Yeah, I've stopped seeing Assassin's Creed games as like stealthy stuff. I'm kind of a murder hobo in those games. I'll just go into a fort and fight everyone,
Hmm.
like not even stick
Valhalla,
around.
I mean, it was a great story for it was a great story about um, the Norse people that came over here and or came over to England and claimed their stake. And then about 15 hours in, the Assassins Guild asked me to assassinate people, and I remembered I was playing an Assassin's Creed game. And then right after I finished stabbing those people, I went right back into the story, and I completely forgot again that I was playing an Assassin's Creed game.
Yeah, it's weird because that guy's basically it's Berserker from For Honor.
Oh yeah, oh
Like
yeah.
100%. That's basically who the character is. I thought it was
Hmm.
really fun. That's actually why I started picking him up in For Honor because I played Valhalla at first and I was like, this is kind of cool. Some of the executions look pretty familiar when I was playing Valhalla. I was like,
Yeah,
okay.
never was a Berserker player.
So going back to the new Assassin's Creed, though, Shadows, the one that's about to drop. Culture war reasons aside, I'm not sure if I want to play it, but not for like those culture war reasons. It's more so to do with the fact that the game's set in Japan. You know, we know this. Everyone's excited about it. The first
Hmm.
AC game in Japan. Ghost of Tsushima hit PC, and I have not played it yet. So I'm at this crossroads where should I play Ghost of Tsushima
Crossroads.
or wait for Assassin's Creed Shadows to because Ghost of Tsushima I've heard it plays a lot like the newer Assassin's Creed, so I don't want to. I don't know which one I want my experience to be in first.
I know which one you want your experience to be in first. Ghost of Tsushima.
Like for sure, you think?
Without a single minuscule molecular hesitation. Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna put a little bit more thought into this. Maybe I could wait
Mull
for
it
the
over.
sale.
I just Ghost of Tsushima was it was a crazy game. It was the story was great. The missions were amazing. By the end, I felt like an unstoppable ninja. Um, Story, like I said, that is the strongest part of it. I think that's as far as gameplay goes. I can't. Who knows how the new Assassin's Creed game will play, but I think the story, unless Ubisoft did something really special, I think was it Sucker Punch? I think Sucker Punch just knew what they were doing.
Yeah, my whole thing though is like I'd have to wait for a sale, or maybe I could just say F it or whatever, buy it full price. With Assassin's Creed though, I'm planning to just subscribe to Ubisoft Plus. It's supposed to be
Okay, so
like
you'll just get it.
yeah, like $18 or whatever, get the full game and whatever else is on their catalog
Hmm.
and play
And then
through
bang
it.
it out if you want to for $18 in a month.
Yeah, but knowing me though and knowing Assassin's Creed games, I'd probably like end up subbed for a while because even though I loved Odyssey, the one that's in Greece, it took me
Hmm.
a while to beat it. At least 2 months of like just
Yeah.
going in and going out or whatever. I don't think I could no life a game like that anymore unless I feel a certain type of way about it, like Elden Ring. That one I kind of know life, and
Yeah.
that's the thing. I think also when Shadows comes out, actually, do you know when it comes out exactly? Because I have a feeling it's almost near Elden
Mm-mm.
Ring's DLC. You know what? Let's check that out right now. Because if
I
it
would
is,
hope
it's
not.
no contest. Yeah, I know a lot of people were trying to avoid that time frame specifically because of Shadow of the
Hmm.
Colossus. Shadow release date.
I think dropping anything near the Elden Ring DLC is
Oh,
a step in the wrong direction.
okay, never mind. I'm full of shit. It's coming out November 15th, 2024 for the newest
It's
AC
not
game.
it's not too far away.
That's
Three more
cl-
blinks and it'll be here.
that's true, but I have a feeling it's also close to Call of Duty, which is like another juggernaut. I don't know if they'd want to do that. Call of Duty, Black
I
Ops.
Yeah, I mean maybe. I don't know. I
Yeah.
feel like Call of Duty and Assassin's Creed are so polar opposites on the genre
Oh,
board
it's
that I feel
October.
like people would be okay with playing both.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing though. It got announced today. I always knew this was gonna happen, but a lot of people were, kind of unsure and on the fence about it. It's hitting Game Pass day one.
Yeah, I saw that. I think that's good.
Yeah, I mean they
I think
they
that's
own
good.
it. Yeah, they had their promise. Like every first party title we own is gonna hit Game Pass day one. So I was like, okay, yeah, they made that promise. And some people
Yeah.
were saying, no, Call of Duty's too big for that. And I was like, they made their promise. I don't think they're gonna break that. The brand damage would be too big. So they stuck to it. So
I
I'm
I
gonna probably play it.
shout out to Microsoft for doing it. I think it is only a good thing to get games into the hands of the people.
Yeah, my only thing is though, like now that I'm gonna be playing it as part of my sub, I'm not paying anything extra for it. Does that mean I'm gonna be buying a few skins?
You
Maybe. I
better
I think so.
I would say you better not, but every single time I get hooked in a Call of Duty, they get at least one skin out of me. Call of Duty Modern Warfare reboot 2019, I could have probably paid my rent with the total amount of money for at least a month that I wasted in that game.
In that multiplayer specifically, or like
In
Warzone.
Warzone with the skins and it was just the skins, literally just the skins.
Oh, I
Yeah,
can understand that.
that was peak COVID. Nothing. We weren't going anywhere. So I'm like, yeah, sure. I'll buy this $20 skin bundle. What else am I gonna do with it? DoorDash, the subscription's paid up. We're good.
My only annoyance with that though is that the skins didn't transfer over to Warzone 2.
They knew exactly what they were doing when they did
They
them.
did.
They knew exactly because it isn't every game after the 2019 reboot included.
Yeah, they made this app
Okay.
for everything that's on called Call of Duty HQ. So it's essentially all under one launcher, even if it's on,
Yep. 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 Yep.
like PlayStation or Xbox or whatever. And you would choose the game you want to play in that launcher and they would boot it up separately. The thing is, I bought this really sweet Godzilla skin, bro, in Warzone 1 for the King Kong versus Godzilla movie when that came out.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a new Godzilla Kong movie this year, and we got skins again in Warzone 2, but they're not as good as the ones that came out years ago. They don't look
Dude,
anywhere near as aesthetically pleasing, to me at least.
do you remember the operator from 2019, Kruger? The guy with the he looked like, I think it's like Norway's special forces, the frogmen with the mesh over the green mesh over his face.
The green mesh, I remember. I don't
Mm-hmm.
actually remember any of their names at all, though.
He was my favorite operator to play. I always had him equipped. I had a bunch of his skins because he got cool skins. He's got a mask on, mask sell. So I bought a lot of skins, and none of them transferred over, obviously. But then in like the next game, they had some other chick who was the exact same. Like she almost looked like the same character model. Obviously, the fit, the camo net over the face isn't an original design. But I'm thinking to myself, damn, I spent so much money on that character in Call of Duty 2019, and then they caught on and realized if they, oh, we'll just let you keep everything except for the game every single person poured so much money into, they started demanding that we carry everything over. We're not going to take anything from there.
The thing is, too, like, I feel that it it was definitely a money grab for
Yeah,
them.
undoubtedly that.
But hey, the thing is, you can emulate the older Call of Duty games too.
I, I
Dude,
they have the DS emulator, and Modern Warfare 3 came out on DS. I'm gonna play that. The original Black Ops came out, and obviously like I said, you can probably still find those games on like PlayStation. But now I can play them and just pull my phone out of my pocket and just play the Modern Warfare 3 campaign, which was good whenever I'm on the go, on this little emulator. It's so cool.
The thing is, though, going back to emulation, the the ones on Android and iPhone, I cannot do touch controls, man. I cannot.
Mm,
The it initially I got introduced to touch controls for things with mobile games or whatever, but to play like games like that, Xbox Live Cloud Gaming had this thing where like, okay, if you're playing games for the cloud, you don't have a controller, we'll have touch controls and they'll put them, whatever around the screen.
mm-hmm.
Even with a turn-based game where it's, super simple, it's slower paced, it drives me up the wall. Like I need to have a physical controller in my hand for that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
For
that's
anything that requires more than two fingers.
yeah, and so that's why I kind of prefer, even though I'll have like some emulators on my phone, they don't really get used. It's more so for my Android tablet, the Logitech G Cloud or
Mm-hmm.
the Steam Deck or whatever.
I'm okay using the Game Boy touch controls because it's two
I,
fingers.
it makes it shaped like that.
Yeah, it's easy to hold. But anything God of War, not gonna play it if I don't have my backbone plugged in. Just not gonna bother with it.
Let me ask you this: did you have a Nintendo DS?
No.
No.
Nope.
What
Game Boy Advance was the only handheld that I had from Nintendo until I bought the Switch.
does the clamshell design interest you at all?
Oh, I mean, yeah.
Because that makes it hard to emulate on phones specifically, because it's like supposed to be two screens. So that's for me at least. Whenever I've emulated one of those, it's mostly been on a PC because you have the monitor. You have as much screen space as you want, pretty much, to have those two
Mm-hmm.
screens emulated up. But
Yeah.
there was a company called, and I'll send it to you so you have a frame of reference for what I'm talking about. There
Mm-hmm.
was a Chinese company that basically makes these PC handhelds, right? And they were making one with the clamshell design, basically looking almost like a Nintendo DS, but running, an AMD processor inside,
Okay.
being able to run all this stuff. So I'm
Okay.
pretty sure they knew who their target audience was with that stuff because the
Hmm.
DS is still super popular.
Those folding phones are all really popular too.
Yeah, I actually thought about getting one, but like, I don't know. I thought about it. At the end of the day, I was like, this would kind of be a gimmick for me.
Yeah, I don't know where one of the guys that we work with has or had one, and he used to carry around a kickstand in his pocket with his phone because whenever he wanted to use the big screen, it was just weird to hold, so he would just carry around a kickstand. And I thought to myself, I was like, wow, that's a big phone to be hauling around with a kickstand for it too, because of how uncomfortable it is to hold open.
Okay, I'm gonna send here in. Oh, actually, never mind. I can't send it through Discord because that's gonna mess up our podcast recording. Anyway, it's called the Ioneo Flip DS. It looks pretty much like a DS, but bigger because it's. I don't think we'll ever get that small anymore. Screen
No,
sizes
probably
do
not.
have an effect, bro. Like, I don't know if you've noticed this yet because I am like, I have a couple of years on you, but so I had a Switch Lite. I had a Switch Lite.
Oh yeah,
I was
yeah.
fine with it or whatever. The Switch Lite screen is about an inch smaller than the regular Switch or the Switch OLED. Switch OLED is actually bigger than regular, so 2 inches smaller than the OLED, an inch smaller than the regular Switch, whatever. I was fine with it at first because I was coming from a PS Vita that had an even smaller screen. Now that I'm older, bro, that shit hurt my eyes, bro. I was playing for like maybe 30 minutes of a
Mm-hmm.
game I was actually invested in, and I would be getting eye strain,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, I can't do this, man. Like,
Mm-hmm.
at first I was confused, thinking like, okay, like, is this a frame rate issue? Like, what's going on? It wasn't a frame rate issue because the game like actually ran
Uh,
pretty well.
yeah,
It
dude,
was just my
you're
eyes,
just
man.
you're just a size queen. That's all it is, dude.
I don't know. I don't know if I would put it like that, but yeah, like
I don't know. That's exactly how I'd put it.
okay, I guess yeah. Screen size is like for a handheld, bro. It's gotta at least be
Both hands, right?
This sounds so weird to say. It's got to be at
Uh
least
huh.
7 inches for
Yep.
for
Yep.
screen
Yep.
size, man.
Yep.
Anything else that'll hurt my eyes? It'll give me eye strain. I just That'll defeat the purpose of like gaming to relax.
I don't think the Switch is comfortable to hold. I like to put it in like a controller mount, like something that I bought on Amazon that gives the like actual grips on the back.
Oh, for sure. You're talking about Joy Cons, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's got to be like ergonomically like the worst thing I've ever held in my hand. The regular
I
Switch with its.
I don't know what they were thinking.
Yeah, I don't either. Well, I guess maybe they were thinking of something because like a new pair of Joy Cons with given the rate that they break, they're pretty pricey, man. They're pretty expensive, and people just keep buying them. Thankfully, there are a lot of those third party ones though.
Have you been having a problem with yours breaking?
No, but I've read about it enough on Reddit that it seems like
Oh, you're talking about
it's happening to everyone. Yeah, the
the
joy
the the, the
stick
stick
drift.
drift. Yeah, that's where the Hall effect. Um, that's I mean, that's you convinced me to get the Xbox controller because the Hall effect.
I
Joy,
actually I bought a second one of those actually.
really,
Yeah. So I've got one here for my PC. Yeah. Like this is not a sponsored thing, by the way, guys. This is just us sharing.
it could be.
So if you're interested, yeah, it could be eventually, but not right now. So if you
Whenever
aren't,
we're millionaires because of our podcast.
if only that day would come, man, where it's so easy. So if you guys are unaware, regular video game controllers, they use analog. Um, I forget what they're called, potentiometers or something like that, but they rely on friction to tell you or to tell the game console where your input is going. This is a I guess it's blurred out. This is a GameSir G7 SE. Yeah, he's got one too. It uses Hall effect sensors. So what that means is it uses magnets. So there's no actual friction. Less moving parts means it's less prone to breaking. So I play a lot of For Honor that uses a lot of stick inputs when you're playing the game. Obviously, you need a block attacks, you need to attack, whatever. I've probably broken like maybe in like the past 10 years, I've probably broken like maybe 6 or 7 controllers. It's almost like a controller a year, given the abuse I put them through. So
Mm-hmm.
with this, I've had this one controller now for about 2 years, and I haven't had any issues with it at all. And I've been abusing the hell out of those sticks
I
For
put
Honor, man.
125 hours in Starfield with that controller, and then 70 hours in Dragon's Dogma 2. So I've and never once had an issue with it.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna be using OEM controllers anymore until they have Hall effect stuff. So if Microsoft's gonna come out with an Xbox Elite, like a new Elite Series 3, I'm not gonna buy it unless it has Hall effect sensors. The Nintendo Switch, I got that Nitro Deck case because it had Hall effect sensors. I wouldn't be interested in it otherwise. I actually kind of like the form factor now after playing so many games on
Mm-hmm.
it. But
I almost
just
picked one up after you were telling me about it, but I don't play my Switch enough.
yeah, well, I guess you could you use this with the Switch actually?
Use what?
Your Hall effect controller.
Oh, I don't. That's a
I,
good question.
I think you can't. You might need an adapter, but like you probably could.
I bought I bought like a $30 after like a third party controller for my Switch, and it's gotten me through Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom.
Okay, I guess that would be a bunch of abuse.
Yeah, I
So
think 120 some odd hours for each game.
yeah, guys who are watching this, I will preface this to say like it's not even just about how many hours in a week you spend gaming because the failure rate for controllers and specifically stick drift, it's not even based on how much wear and tear you put on it. You could probably move the controller once right out of the box and you could have stick drift. Like there's no way to tell. It's really weird. So whenever you hear someone say, "Oh, I've never had an issue or whatever," like they might have just gotten a good controller. But the thing is, like
Hmm.
with the way these things are, it's almost always guaranteed to happen. It might not be now. It might not be like in a few months or whatever. But like there, because it's friction, they do have like a wear cycle, so they might end up breaking at some point. And I don't know if you are fine with it, but I don't want to see my character move forward and I'm not doing anything, you know?
No, yeah, it happened to me when I was playing Breath of the Wild the first time. It was just Link would be moving when I was trying to aim with the bow. He'd be walking around, falling, slipping down ledges. So no, I don't ever, it got really annoying.
Yeah. So are you interested then in having because I know you have your PC for emulation stuff. Were you interested in either an emulation PC, like a small one, or getting an Xbox Series S for your TV for emulating stuff
No, I'll probably just run it right from my computer.
to your
You know, I
TV?
get well. I have an ultra wide monitor, so I have a. This will be good for anything.
Yeah, but well, obviously, but I know you're the type of guy that has this. If you play a certain type of game, you want to be on your couch.
Yeah, I don't know how well it would look if I could get it to look good on my TV, but if I don't like those big chunky black bars that show up on each side of the screen whenever something isn't able to fit the resolution. And most of the time on my computer, you just set the resolution to match the monitor, and it'll always look good. But on my TV, I don't know if I could get it to look good. If I could, then yeah.
I
Um,
think you can with an emulator specifically.
so then yeah, if I could, maybe the world's longest HDMI cord to get from my computer to my TV in my apartment. But yeah, that'd be yeah. I like a good Zelda game on the TV. I like an RPG, an ARPG. I like those on the TVs.
All right. By the way, it's been about 50 minutes
Yeah, I
now.
was gonna say this would probably be a pretty good place to start wrapping up our 30-minute podcast.
Yeah, man. Supposed to be 30 minutes. What do you want to talk about next time? And by the way, guys, I'd like to apologize. I should have done this at the start. Maybe we'll do a housekeeping section next time, like quick
Hmm.
little thing. We were supposed to do one every 2 weeks, and we missed that window last week or the week before last because
Hmm.
life came into the picture, had extra hours at work, couldn't organize time around a call. So, yeah, I apologize for that.
We're getting them out when we can get them out. I think two a month. We said also, so they might not be consistent, on the week to week basis. But I think as long as we can get two pumped out.
Yeah, at the very least, I'd like to shoot for some consistency, but yeah, you're right.
Hmm.
At least two per month. All right, so yeah, we'll figure out what we're going to talk about next week. I do know it's not really next week, but it's within the next 2 weeks. Summer Games Fest is coming up, so we're gonna have stuff to talk about.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have a lot to talk about. If these
I
tariffs go out and things get expensive, we're gonna have stuff to talk about.
There's that too. I'm planning also to do a watch party. I don't know if I will yet. That it depends on what's going on with family that week. But Xbox is having their game showcase June 7th. Maybe I'll do watch party for that, or maybe the PC game showcase too. Those are the stuff that I'm interested in at least. So we'll see. Anyway, guys, we're gonna wrap up here. You got anything you want to say, Bones?
No, see you next time.
Good to go. All right, guys. Once again, it's me, your Bear Huffy, and I'll catch you guys later.
See you.
Peace.